Hello, Tito. Ok, mira, yo estuve caminando por aquí, por las calles de Queen hoy, y me encontré una tarjeta con una chica muy bonita. Y verdaderamente esa mujer a mí me gustó, brother. ¿Cómo yo puedo bregar con esto con ustedes? ¿Cómo puedo bregar esto con ustedes? Porque necesito a esa chica, me gusta de verdad, mano, le tengo mucho deseo. Por el dinero no hay ningún problema, con el dinero no hay ningún problema, ¿se entiende? Lo que quiero es que me resuelva con eso, porque no, pero mi hermano, pero brega, la llevamos donde sea. Dinero no hay problema.
Oh, no. He smelled this thing. He smelled this thing.
Y dice, primo, not today, tomorrow.
They have call ID that the number.
He said, my friend, not
Number
today,
of Friday.
tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Because I run the Guardian Angels now in 14 countries, 140 cities, very diverse all over the world, I have seen indications of slavery, child slavery, in third world countries and in first world countries. And in first world countries, like our own, the United States, it generally exists in immigrant communities, which are out of sight, out of mind. I could get off a number 7 train on my way to watch the New York Mets. A few stops before, and that's an entire Latin community. It's like we're in a third world country. Nobody speaks English there. And there are men downstairs, and immediately as we get to the street, they're giving us these cards with pictures of blonde-haired, blue-eyed women on it. And they're talking about doing massages and taking care of your health and your medical needs. Now, there's not one of those girls who looks blonde-haired and blue-eyed. They're all from Latin America, Central America. They're all short, dark hair, dark eyes. But it's all a ruse. And it has a number that you call. You call the number, and the person tells you exactly where to go. But they ask you who you are, where you're from, what town you're from. Oh, you're from Bolivia? Okay, where you from in Bolivia? And they can tell from the kind of Spanish that you speak, probably who you are and where you're from. And then they'll make a decision whether to give you any more information. So this way, you've never approached the facility, you've never discovered where the house of prostitution is, and it's that phone call, basically, that clarifies who you are, where you're from, and whether you're worth the risk.
Ajá, vaya papi, como te dije, encontré una de estas tarjetitas y quiero saber cómo resolvemos, papá.
Si es delivery, solo para delivery, ¿de qué parte estoy llamando, amigo?
Ok, no, yo estoy ahora en Queens, por la calle Roosevelt. La cosa de brother, yo vivo con mi mujer, so para mi casa, olvídate, pero no hay otro modo de resolver. They're safeguarding themselves. He just told me I have to go to the hotel at 83rd Astoria Boulevard, not that far from here. The price of how they call them, the chicks, las chicas, the women, is $180 per hour. I asked him, does anything go? Obviously, he said, yes, anything for 1 hour. And I asked, can I pick the woman I want? Are you going to bring me a variety of women? Do I get to choose? No. We bring you one woman. She is either 17 or 18 years of age. And that's that.
The girls they use have been taken captive from their countries of origin when they come here, when they're told, oh, you're going to be a waitress, you're going to work in the back of a restaurant, you're going to work as a maid, you're going to work in a hotel or motel. They get bamboozled. And the next thing you know, they're performing sex acts half the day, and the other half the time, they're basically drugged up or alcoholed up in a stupor.
While many Americans have heard of human trafficking in other parts of the world, few people know it happens here in the United States, right at their doorsteps.
And I could never believe that can happen to me. And when I get in this situation, I believe it can happen anytime.
My cousin was Ambrosia, and mine was Heavenly.
Right now, there's an insatiable appetite on the part of the consumer. Men who can't control themselves, who will pay any price to be able to have sex with an underage child.
As far as I've known, it's been down Roosevelt Avenue, where you can buy anything you want. Again, prostitution. You can buy documents. You can buy pretty much anything you want. But it's one which we dealt with head on, and we feel that now we have to really crack down on it, because if we don't, it's going to get to a level where it might be uncontrollable.
With the help of Assemblyman Jose Peralta and his chief of staff, Yanel, we were able to confiscate some of these cards from a local high school where children were dealing these cards much in the same way that I used to deal my baseball cards. Now all of a sudden, your little shining star of a boy cannot have a regular girlfriend, not after looking at these, because he's no longer looking in her eyes for love. He's looking elsewhere.
Just the fact that people already have become numb to the issue that you're going to be given one of these prostitution cards, or that 1 block from Roosevelt Avenue, there are these homes where you can go and get services, and realizing that some of these women are working sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 20 hours a day at 12, 13 years of age.
Little itty-bitty girls who they tell us are, no, they're actually teenagers. They're really young adults, but they're short. Their culture is short. And you look at them and you say, short? That looks like a 12-year-old girl. And even though you've put makeup on and you've dressed them up, they still look like a 12-year-old girl. What are you telling me? So common sense should prevail.
Really, our stance have been, we got to do what we can to get rid of this. And again, we thank the Guardian Angels for, again, taking the initiative and doing something about it.
10-4, be advised, the interview is just about over. We're going to get ready to get Operation Cinco de Mayo underway.
10-4, be advised, your time check, 19:22.
That's a 10-4, 13 clear. Just because they're in a crooked business does not mean that they're stupid businessmen. They take every precaution not to get stung. I mean, even us who are not law enforcement officials, once I get an address, boom, that goes straight to the police, and you best know that the cops are going there right away.
Tonight, the 3 Guardian Angels decide to go on an undercover patrol. This way, the men who give out the prostitution cards will see them as regular customers, and chances will rise to find a house of prostitution.
Today there was an eerie calm, which is a good thing. I mean, we're not out here to be gangbusters. We're not out here trying to play superhero or super cop. We want there to be calm and peace, and we're here to make sure that there is. So tonight was actually a great patrol, and we did run into one incident, and obviously there was something going on with that blue Dodge Neon with the Connecticut plates. There were 2 females. At first the 2 females were in the back, then one of the females jumped in the front passenger seat. They knew I was there. I was on my radio to my central office. I then approached the car and I got extremely close to it. Actually, I was right on top of it. There were shady moves in there. 3 people, when the driver gets out, goes to another car, and there was some kind of deal there. That was obvious. I called in the plates to my central office to make sure, if anything happened, that there was a description of the people inside of it. Again, I hope nobody gets the notion that criminals are dumb. They're not dumb. They know how to survive. They have a street survival mechanism. We, the good people, just have to stay one step ahead of them and be vigilant, always vigilant, and pray for that day that we can make a difference in someone's life.
If it doesn't look right, 9 out of 10 times it's not right. And what's the worst thing? You could always apologize and say you overreacted if you reported them and it turned out that it was a legitimate operation. But you know something? Better safe than sorry. That's always been my rule of thumb. Better safe than sorry.
That night, the guardian angels were right. They witnessed a second car pull up and was waved off by the driver of the blue Dodge Neon with the 2 girls on the back seat.
¿Aló?
Hola, buenas noches.
Buenas.
Buenas, yo conseguí una tarjetita que me dieron aquí en la ruta.